13th floor. The 13th floor.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing. I'm your moderator, B. Jones, and this week I got my main man, Mike D. What's going on, sir?
Hey, what's going on, bro? What's going on, fellas? What's going on, family? How
Mike
everybody?
Bass. Call him by his real name, Mike Bass.
Mike Bass?
We trying to turn the treble up a little bit.
broke the knob on that thing. Can't get it to play.
My dog's subbing now. He's subbing on the old.
We trying to fix it.
DJ Barry B. Fresh, what's going on, player?
What's going on, world? How you doing? I hope you guys are invigorated, ready to get it popping. I'm here. We here. Dace just popped in the building. It's going down. Lego.
You got to come off mute though, baby. What's happening?
What up, man? I'm late, but I made it. But in the words of B. Jones, you're not late if you come. I think I paraphrased that.
Wow, that was the worst.
Come on, man. You gotta keep the colloquial strong, man. I'm only late if I don't show up. Now let's get it.
Tomato potato, bro. I pretty much
tomato potato. You hear this?
Hey, man.
I pretty much said the same thing.
Not at all. Coach K, get it.
I can't. See, man, now I have to go into my trunk here. So, ring ding dong, yesterday has come and gone, but here I stand, ready to fight, claw, and bite my way through today's song. Let's get it on.
Let's get it on.
See, huh? Brett with the vocals. I ain't even know.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm a harmonizing animal now. I can do that just a little bit. And last but not least, we got the A.B.F. back on the podcast this week. What's going on, man?
Hey, fellas. How y'all doing? Thanks for having me back.
Doing well.
Doing good. It's an honor.
We got quiet.
We got to step lightly this week, huh?
Apparently
not too lightly.
Apparently, it's a late honor.
I'm saying, like, for me to be on there with her, you know what I mean?
Hey, J Dace, I got a question, man. When you supposed to be working on being more on time and punctual, or is that just a work thing?
In front of all these people, huh?
Phenomenal.
No, man. These. I mean, I'm hurting over here for real, man. I got this nostril dead. It's kind of just written. I wrote it off. You know what I mean? I don't even want to use that nostril no more.
Failure.
And you gotta do the thing with the press the nose.
They say excuses sound best to those making them up. So I ain't got no excuse, man. I just I'm trying.
You got to do the push the nose up thing. What was that thing Art was talking about?
Oh my goodness,
man, it don't work. I tried it, man. I've been on everything for it's allergy season up here in Maryland. I can't.
Don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, it don't work, man. Like, I'm about to go get this neti pot, this Medi sinus spray, and continue to douche my nose.
Better y'all than me. That's all I can say. Better y'all.
Anyway, man, we got the A.B.F. for the podcast this week, man. Our special guest. We definitely appreciate everything she dropped on us last week, but we wanted to get into not last week. I'm sorry, last time. It's still early, man. Stop looking at me like that, K. Cut his video off. We want to get into the Coachella performance by none other than Miss Beyonce Knowles Carter. I thought it was all right, man. It wasn't nothing special, for real.
I would beg to differ.
All right, I'm gonna go on mute and just back away and let you get stung by the beehive.
Nah, man, I'm just playing, man. I thought it was an amazing performance all around. I think it was a little low impact in the beginning. I was watching it with Chris, and she was talking about how amazing Beyonce's performances typically are, and how she's in such good shape where she sings and dances, and moves around so much. But all in all, I think it was a good performance. But the messaging and all of it, I think, was even more impactful. The display of the HBCU and everything, the band in the back, they were just rocking. And I think it put the HBCUs front and center, especially alongside the donations that she provided with them as well. So definitely want to talk the impact of Beyonce's Coachella performance, or as we call it, Beychella, with the A.B.F.
So I I am a certified card carrying Beehive member, so I'm a little bit biased. Before I say my opinion, can I hear what Black men thought of it?
Wow. Why? Just go. Let the Beehive go. Be free.
Okay. Well, I mean, it was amazing. I mean, it will never be called Coachella ever again. It was just to have a Black woman, the first Black woman ever to headline that festival, come and just completely change it for the rest of its existence was just a very Black, very proud moment for a lot of us. And it was a celebration of being Black. You know, I saw a lot of comments where people were like, oh, why'd she do it at Coachella? It was this primarily white audience that couldn't even appreciate it. Because I guess when Swag and Surf came on, have y'all seen this video?
Yeah, that's hilarious, by the way.
I didn't see a video from that perspective. I only saw it from her on stage, and it was somebody who's like recording. I couldn't find it.
Oh, it's totally disrespectful. I mean, it was like people just waving their hands in the air.
They have
no idea. Had no idea what's going on.
No instinct. Yeah, it was
none. Do it for the culture meant nothing to them
at all.
And so people, you know, they wanted her to do it in a different setting. But I don't feel like that had anything to do with this moment. I feel like it was just a celebration, and whoever got it, and whoever didn't, sorry for you.
Well, I think that that's the exact setting that it needs to be done in, because I feel more of an instance of they need to know and feel the acceptance of it, as opposed to feeling like, well, you're only supposed to do it on BET. What do you mean? Why are you doing it at this white festival? Well, no, everybody needs to celebrate us. Everybody needs to know about us and understand that we were are kings and queens. And I think that's what was the poignant moment of the performance to me is, you know, she came out as a queen for the initial part of the performance and really just let people be in awe. It reminded me of the Michael Jackson clip when he comes jumping from the under the stage and he stands there for like a good 5-10 minutes and people are just going crazy. Like that type of moment of accept and see me and be in awe of, you know, my royalty almost in a sense. But then, I don't know how many people caught when she goes back for an outfit change, right? This woman changed everything down to her nails. She had a new
talk about it
on by the time she came back out. Now, if that ain't stunting to like the billionth degree, I really don't know what it is, because that change wasn't no more than a couple minutes. But then to bring all of that culture, all of that, you know, importance, but doing it in a way that was still unique. Like, I don't know the time I've seen somebody bring a whole band and the way it was staged and how the performances went. It was still very cool, still very new feeling, but it still paid homage to old school, into, you know, where we came from and what we're based from, and brought to light so much, so many important, you know, little gems that were here and there to, I think more so, while it was in your face, I think subliminally, the impact and the amount it will move, you know, going on, I guess the ripple effect it will have is really more so what I look to see and feel the impact from.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I wrote about this on A.B.F. It was a lot of subliminals that I feel like, even for myself, I need to rewatch it a couple of times, kind of like her album Lemonade. But one of the biggest things for me is that, you know, the coat of arms that she had, you know, I did a lot of research on what those mean for people of color, because we don't have those. You know, they're supposed to serve as a source of Black pride for families and for your heritage. And ours has been lost. And so even having that moment to be able to, like, this year we've been really blessed that we now have a language. We now have a source of pride. If I look at you and I do the Wakanda X across my chest, you know what I mean. You can hear me. You can receive me as another person of color. You know it comes from a place of pride. If we say Beychella, we know it's code for all Black everything. This is just such an important time in who we are. And, even down to using the Delta symbol. Delta means change. And so I think that there were just so many messages in her performance that I hope it was received.
I agree with you. And I think my biggest thing, and it's the same thing that I've had with the NFL players when they were doing their strike or their protest, it's the same thing I have with not wanting to be called a motivational speaker. What she did was temporary, and in a couple weeks, it will be gone. So what I more so would like to see more coverage of is the off the stage efforts, because I think that's what makes it more than just a performance.
Can you help? Did you say you don't like to be called a motivational speaker?
Absolutely not.
Why? If you don't mind me asking.
Motivation is temporary. It only lasts for as long as you're being exposed to it. Right. But if I can come in and interrupt your internal voice and change your voice moving forward, then I've now planted something that's going to grow and will last for the duration of your time. So what was deep to me was that at the very beginning, when she came out there and did Lift Every Voice and Sing, I wonder how many people actually knew what song that was. And instead of people singing along, you heard more people saying, yeah, girl, sing, you better sing. But do they know where that came from? Do they know what that is? And like, that was so powerful to me that she started with that, because with all the hoopla and the hype about the national anthem, she came out there and started the whole thing with our national anthem. And I thought that was just like, wow, boom. Like, how many people caught that?
Very intentional. I was saying that, I don't know if y'all read the interview from her mom, but her mom was scared for her to do this performance on that stage.
Yep.
And she was just like, I don't know if this is a good idea. And, Beyonce said, no, I can't do what's popular anymore. I have to do what's right and what's necessary. And so for her, we've seen Beyonce put a lot on the line and risk her brand in a way between here and the Super Bowl. I mean, she dressed like a Black Panther on one of the largest stages in the world. And so I'm proud to be a Beehiver. And I've been proud that people that weren't a part of the Beehive walk away with a just immense level of respect for her over these past 2 weekends, for what she's done to celebrate our Blackness and to use her visibility responsibly. We have so many people of color that are in these positions of power that remain silent because they don't want to lose any opportunities. And she's like, look, it's time that we
I think it definitely
celebrate.
Comes from the strength of, just like you said, her making these statements is extremely powerful, but I praise the way that she does it in such like, it's still entertainment. Like, even though she's making these statements, it doesn't seem like it's a forced or like it's a well, we got to make sure that it's, even though those pieces are in there, it's still good performances. Even Super Bowl was an amazing performance, and it was, it was better than the Justin Timberlake performance. And it was, had so many more pieces and components to it that allowed it to speak more than just, doing her hit records, that she's making those moments in time that are reference points of being able to kind of go back. We're going to go back in 3, 4, or 5 years and be able to say, well, wow, that was from Beychella. That trend started there. That's why all of a sudden now we have, we had a whole year worth of videos where all hip hop and R&B artists were like Black Panthers and at HBCUs and all of this other stuff, because it all started here. And that's what I enjoy about her in Jay-Z is that sense of, I do need to push the culture forward. I have a responsibility for it, but at the same time, I'm still an artist, and I don't want to do it in a way that feels forced or doesn't feel real. I still want it to feel organic, but to still get the messaging and the points across in a way that will hopefully resonate with the audience.
And just because I don't want to get stung up when y'all get stung up, You have committed a violation against the Beehive by even mentioning Justin Timberlake in the same sentence as her in any type of comparison. Just for the record.
Hey, I'm a Justin Timberlake fan too, so I'm not getting into that barrel of whatever. But you know, I rock alongside both.
When one thing, when you guys talk about the authenticity of the performance, even down to her being thick Beyonce right now, for women, it felt empowering. It was like, okay, I just had a baby. You could tell she had a baby. She looked amazing to have just had 2 twins. But at the same time, she still looked black and thick and like a woman. Not only did she look thick and black, most of her dancers were some thick joints.
I'm about to say, we saw y'all tribute on to the thicker young lady throwing around that baton. Whipping that thing.
Man. I mean,
look at your high pitch.
She was whipping that thing. It was such a beautiful moment for us because we've been told that as Black women that the standard of beauty that we should aspire to isn't what we look like. When the truth is, you know, and so to have that moment where our bodies, our physiques, who we are, our hips, our curves, how we can sway, be celebrated. And I thought it spoke volumes about Beyonce as a performer, that she left the stage and gave young Black talent, young Black women space to be on the stage on their own and just have their moments. It was just, don't even get me started. So, Beyonce's the best.
So when do you think she got to that point where she was able to be comfortable enough to do something like that? Because, you know, like you said, the Super Bowl stage, the Coachella, there's a certain level of intimidation that comes with that. So like, you feel like you have to be a certain level of comfortability in your skin or just in your career?
I think a little bit of both, you know.
It's a lot of bit of both. It's not a little.
Yeah.
It's a bit of both.
Yeah. Like, I think it's definitely a mixture. As a member of the Beehive, you know, I see all the critiques and people, you know, some people are like, oh, well, she's just now riding the race wave because this was popping. I hold a very different position. One, I don't care what got you to wake up. Okay. I don't care if you just woke up 2 days ago. I'm just happy that you're woke. Welcome to the party.
So powerful.
But you know, like some people didn't wake up till Starbucks. That's fine. If it took Starbucks to wake you up, cool. I personally don't feel that way about Beyonce though. If you are part of the Beehive, then you know that her heritage runs deep. I mean, she can trace her ancestors to the Louisiana slave trade. Her name, Beyonce, is a family name from Beyonce. All of her brands have been named after her grandmother, Agnes Darion. She's very deep in her culture, and you can't tie your roots to New Orleans and not be proud of being Black. Oh. So I don't think that was ever lost on her if you really pay attention to her career. And so she just had to get to a certain point, which is what she explained to her mother, that now she had arrived to a point where she can't care about the risk anymore.
Yeah, I think it's I always find it interesting I guess the severity of how people feel you should impact society, I guess, with your fame. At the end of the day, I believe the responsibility falls on the individual, and everybody's not I always reference LeBron James just because as somebody who is, you know, the top of his industry, but still is very passionate about Black issues and always takes, you know, forward stance. Everybody's not like that. And I don't think it's everybody's responsibility to be like that. So just like you said, even if it was Starbucks, it's more about the appreciation of understanding and recognizing and doing what you can from that moment forward. And everybody's effort is going to be different. And you know, Beyonce can't do what Alicia Keys can, you know. So no,
don't start it.
But the being able to accept, I think that's one of the most important thing that people do that they shouldn't is about trying to weigh the impact of, you know, what you're putting into the movement or what you're putting into reverencing your Black culture and being able to, you know, show how pro-Black that you are, that there shouldn't be a weight on it. It should be, you know, more acceptance of you becoming awake and being able to, okay, these are things that I can do moving forward.
Yeah, because we all play a role. I mean, Beyonce, she plays an international role. You know, it's global. That was a global moment. However, we play a local impact by, you know, let's talk about Starbucks. You know, I mean, we don't have to go into the Starbucks. I'm just saying, use that example where, okay, this past weekend, you patronize a Black-owned business. You know, I've seen, it's so horrible how we can like just not encourage each other as people of color. It bothers me. I saw somebody say to somebody else who posted such a positive thing, like, hey, check out these local coffee shops. Oh, well, it took Starbucks for you to finally support your own people. Like, bruh.
Just take it. Just take it as you get.
Just take it. Just take it, bruh. Like, just let them finally have gotten there.
Well, I was gonna say that's a total another issue. But the trolling issue and how widely accepting it is now to, at the end of the day, be an a-hole and just to like find ways to aggravate people and antagonize people on anything, whether the message is positive, negative, just like some way to antagonize them instead of looking for positivity and trying to just be accepting. It's crazy.
What social media has done is giving people power. You know what I mean? You can say what you want to say without too much backlash.
Perceived power. There really is.
No, definitely. Perceived power. Most certainly. But it's just you're able to say what you want to say because you're at home behind a computer or a telephone, and that person is all the way in California and you're in New York.
Studio gangsters are real.
You got nothing to worry about. But we did mention Starbucks. So just out of curiosity, is that the next move, or are we still good with Starbucks?
I'll be honest with you, man. I already had stuff loaded up on my card, so I gotta exhaust my card first, and then I'm all in. I'm just saying.
So
let my money go to waste.
So with Starbucks though, and I've heard both sides of this whole boycott situation on their behalf. So I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. But I understand the long game of it after the conversation I had about why the boycott of Starbucks would be important. But given the situation, I just don't see that it is the best way to go about something, especially with a company that's already so socially responsible. And, you know, they're impacting communities, various communities, not specifically ours, but various communities. You know, and this is an isolated incident at one store with one idiot manager versus a whole company like an H&M or...
I think it's always about the response, right? And if you take Starbucks, I think we referenced Chick-fil-A, right? Where it's that same type of, look, that manager, while I do not believe it was an isolated incident by any means, however, Starbucks are franchised. So it's not the same type of tie where it's like I walked into Merrill Lynch's office and all of a sudden, you know, somebody in Merrill Lynch said, get out, nigger. You know, it's a total, I won't say it's a total different play, but because of the response, I waited to see what Starbucks' response was going to be. And the CEO did, in my eyes, a very good job of swiftly, you know, letting it be known that, hey, that manager has already been dealt with. This is not the way that we want to, you know, be pictured. We're going to do this training that's going to shut down stores for, you know, some 8 hours during the, you know, prime business hour and all of these other things that because they are taking steps towards it, I enjoy the fact that they rose their hand, took the slap on the wrist, and are looking to make improvements. But I also believe that we do need to get out of Starbucks. We do need to work more on, you know, impacting the local minority-owned coffee shop, whatever shop, everything shop. So it's an interesting game, but I don't believe the strong acting as if the CEO came out and this was who made these statements or who kicked somebody out is the route to go. Because again, I think that there's an opportunity now to get Starbucks too, where we need you to place in these direct communities and really start to push them towards, okay, well, I see that you do want to make an impact and you do want to have the perception be totally changed. Well, here's some good ways that you could do it. And that conversation has started.
Right. So I think that there always has to be a response, because until we get to the point where these corporations and businesses and establishments are having this conversation proactively as opposed to reactively, and it is something that in your business plan you have already ingrained this in the culture, until we get to that point, we have to respond, because there are other cultures and races that it's not even like it won't even happen, because we are terrified at what the repercussions would be. So until we get that type of respect, I think there always has to be a response, and they have to know that, hey, this could happen. So let's get ahead of this. Let's have that training in advance. Why does it take an event to drive that training? I appreciate them shutting down for 8 hours and doing training, because trust me, that's going to cost them quite a lot of money to be shut down for 8 hours nationwide. So I do appreciate that. And I think that their response is quicker, and it's probably more than what other companies would do. But still, that impact has to be felt.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you guys. I'm personally not boycotting, but I support anyone who feels like that's the avenue that they need to take. What I would encourage people of color, though, to understand is, particularly our generation, we lean into the forms of resistance that our ancestors did. And we have to understand that those methods might have worked for them at that point in time. And we have to understand that while we might want to put them in our toolkit, every situation doesn't call for a boycott. Every situation doesn't call for a march. We have to be able to diversify how we respond to these moments. And so there are some places that you need to boycott, like a Papa John's or H&M. But there are other situations that happen where a conversation is necessary, dialogue. And Starbucks, this seems like one of those situations where you want to sit at a table and have a conversation because they seem open to it. This is one of those things that you walk away and you avoid. You engage because they're ready and willing. And so that's the one thing I just want people of color to understand. Everything doesn't warrant a boycott. So
we have to evolve everything, just like we have evolved, and our parents and everyone can look at us and talk about how different we act and how, much more say we have, that there is, the same thing needs to happen with how we react to situations. There has to be some type of evolution and understanding, and especially with the different levels of power we have. It's not all verbally. The internet is extremely powerful, and being able to use the different tools that we have at our fingertips in order to create that impact, create that change that we're looking for, and know again that it's not just about, stop, boycott them and let's go to their stores and yell and scream outside the doors. That's not always the answer. Opening up that conversation.
It is not.
A.B.F. is absolutely right. There are other tools of accountability that we have to our resources at this point in time. So we can do different things. And I personally have enjoyed this week. As I said, my card was already loaded, so I'm going in there. You can tell that they are shook that there's a different interaction this week, right? Like, oh, hey, how you doing? How are you? How's your day going? Like,
did you guys see?
You know what? We made one thing wrong in your drink, so here, take this one.
That hypersensitivity is crazy.
You guys see the guy who went in and asked for reparations, said they owed him reparations, and they gave him a free coffee?
No.
You got to go look that up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I walked in, hey, you guys owe me a free coffee because of reparations, and sure enough, he got it.
Wow,
if only it was that easy.
Right? That's crazy.
I'll let y'all know that I'm gonna try right after this podcast. I'm gonna let y'all know how that
go,
goes.
brother. Hold out your body, get that allergies out. Boy, get you some tea. Tell them you want you some tea. It's tea time.
Hey, can you make sure that Kristen has our phone numbers? So when you get locked up, she needs to call. She
go ahead and make that quick call.
Come get you out.
Right.
We'll treat you like you're Mr. Clark. We'll be out there with signs, protests, and everything. everything.
It's Sunday too, so you don't have that long to wait. You'll be out tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Yep.
Nah. Can't let Jay can't let Jay go out like that. Miss A.B.F, you staying with us for a little longer, or you got to get up out of here?
What time is it? No, I have to go.
She was enjoying herself. She didn't even know what time.
I was.
It's 8 o'clock.
I was. You guys crack me up.
We like to have fun, man. You always get out of here too early, man. You got to be less busy. Hang out on the 13th floor.
Mm-hmm.
Next time, that will be my goal. But it's Black Alumni Weekend. So.
At Virginia Union,
I got to go
to VCU.
No, it's Black Alumni Weekend at VCU.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. So
It's
I got to
still
go be
early,
black.
though. It's early on a Sunday. That'll be okay.
Look, let me go be black and Greek, please.
Hey, nobody shows up to the Sunday morning breakfast.
And nobody shows up on time, man. Like, I saw a meme about the Starbucks situation saying that if the dudes had showed up late, none of this would have ever happened. If the black guys would have showed up late, they'd have been good.
Don't do that. Please set a good example for the late showers. We appreciate you being on time.
Yeah, black and Greek is not on time. I use my years to get there whenever I want to.
Well, I hope you guys have a blessed Sunday. And wherever you guys are, hope you get some good weather soon.
My weather's been good.
Y'all don't count.
Yeah, man. Anyway, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us, Angry Black Female. We'll see you next time.
All right. Take care.
All right,
no
you too.
problem.
Ciao.
Easy, man. Hey, he did say ciao.
What about
Look at
you?
him.
I got a lot of Spanish going on in my area, dog.
It's not even Spanish.
They say ciao. What you want me to tell you, bro?
No, they don't.
Adios.
If my wife is Spanish and I hang around all these Spanish people and I hear them say ciao, how you gonna tell me they don't?
That's
They don't.
I understand it is an Italian saying. However, they do say ciao.
I ain't heard
it
nothing.
comes from a different language doesn't mean
That's because they're hungry.
can't use it.
Thank you. Let's eat.
They're trying to let you know you didn't have any food. Ciao.
Hey, Fresh, man, we stand with you this week, man. We had a lot of good conversations centered around music, and my dog dropped an amazing album this past Friday, KOD. So what you got for us on that KOD, man? Did you listen, Mike? You already shaking your head, man.
Yeah, I just running through everybody. I don't know. I'm going on mute.
J. Cole.
Hey, man, I'm sorry, man. I felt bad for you last week, man. I listened, I had to get off early because of daddy duty, but you were just non-existent last week with all the crazy they were talking about Cardi B and all these folks. And
I feel like J. Cole is, you don't know J. Cole?
Hey, don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't
do it.
Only thing I know, he like on the Pandora, he's sitting on top of a roof or something.
Yeah, that was 2 albums ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, my man J. Cole came hard with the KOD, man. 3 alternate meetings. Album, I will say, is probably one of his best ever, man. I love the growth that I see. Yeah, what's your question, Mike?
KOD mean kiss of death?
No, it means 3 different things. So you got kids on drugs, king overdosed, and kill our demons.
I appreciate you clarifying that for me because I.
Yeah, we got a lot of Miami folks on here, so we know the alternate meaning of KOD. But no, man, it was a great album, man. I think it was an excellent piece of therapeutic work. I put it right along the line of Jay-Z's 444 with what he was trying to do with it, because he talks about a lot of things, and I feel like it's just therapy for him. J. Cole been on I think a spiritual, mental, personal growth thing since Forest Hill Drive. And it's just starting to manifest itself on a larger scale as he continues to, isolate himself from certain things in society. And along with that consciousness that he's coming into, or that we are coming into as men, comes the frustration with a lot of the things that you had to deal with as a man, a lot of the things that we deal with today that we feel like we can't change. And he put all of that on this album, man. So much of this stuff resonated from me from the cutoff to KOD, 1985. Like, I love everything about this album.
Man, I felt like it was you got like a different perspective of 444 from a slightly younger man's perspective.
Exactly.
I saying
Exactly.
J. Cole like Jay-Z.
He's more like Nas. He don't have the
Nas.
he won't have the commercial like success that Jay-Z has seen because he doesn't do a whole lot of those hot records. But when you talk about the
Well,
storytelling,
J.
I was going to
Cole,
say,
Nas.
look, he started off, J. Cole, first off, as an artist is a great story. Just because he was one of, I don't want to say one of the first, but really still one of the first that Jay-Z picked outside of like Rockefeller era and all of that. When Jay-Z was on, I'm a president and I'm looking at the future. And I like to reference when he talks in one of his albums, he talks about there's some kid listening on a cereal box and you know, eating cereal and beatboxing and rhyming right now. That's the dude who I want. And J. Cole actually used that clip in one of his first earlier albums, saying that, referencing that was him. That was the one that he was the one that he found. So if you watch early in J. Cole's career, he was the same. And he says it in the album that, you know, at 18, 20 years old, I was worried about, you know, females, drugs, and money, just the same as all of these younger kids are right now. So I can't fault them. What I love specifically about this album is that if you look at the last album, what was it? Truly Yours. When
Truly Yours is long. It's old.
What's the last album?
For Your Eyes Only.
For Your Eyes Only. Okay. So you can tell he has been going through, right, the growth in the maturation process in the like discovery of self in all of this through his 20s and early 30s, right? And he's you know, grown his hair out. And you could tell his last album, he put those moments into it, but he went so far into himself that it wasn't as much popularly accepted. Whereas this album, I feel like he made the transformation of understanding, if I want to feed you, I have to, you know, some of the times put that pill in Kool-Aid or something, you know, in order for you to be able to absorb it. And seeing how he made these songs that have the same type of beats and cadence, but are speaking a more powerful message as what's quote unquote popular now. That's what I love about the album, that there are people who are going to get lost in a song like ATM on just the initial money in hot beat. But then once you finally are lulled into it and really start to understand what the message is, it's mind blowing. You're like, wait a minute, he's totally putting this in a different space and really putting that mirror, showing that mirror to all of these young dudes that I'm not telling you that your music is trash. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't make it, but I am telling you, you need to think and wake up and understand that the power of your voice and what you're leading all of us to. This is only going to be hot for a moment. Are you going to be here for a moment, or do you want to look for longevity? And being able to see the space that he puts all of that in, how he went about this album, again, making it something where I felt the last album was not as, I don't want to say musically, because it still had, you know, great production, but just it didn't have, some of these songs are going to be played in the club, rightfully so, whereas the last album, it was a little bit pushed to put some of those songs in the club. I see your face, B. You don't think some of these songs are going to go in the club?
Not at all. I think the
ATM
subject
is 100% going to ride in the club. 1985 might actually get in the club.
1985 might. ATM I got to listen to because I think that's one of the joints I don't really care for.
He just released he released the video for ATM.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Fantastic. But also that song is going to be played. Shoot, I will be playing it in the club on Wednesday at my open mic night.
Where is this open mic night Wednesday? If
you guys are all in the Boynton Beach area, Boynton Beach, Florida, please make sure you come through Alibaba's. It's on Congress near Hyperluxo Boulevard. You can check all our stuff. I'm going to go ahead and put the flyer up. But next Wednesday, we're having an open mic and Get Right night. Your boy will be on the Wheels of Steel along with some local artists to go ahead and give you guys a peek and view of what Palm Beach has going on.
What happened in 1985?
1985 is when he was born, but he made a song that's called 1985 where he references, like, for the first time, he was dissed by one of these younger artists.
Who was he dissed by?
That's what Little Pump, another little, wow. Exactly. So it makes no difference. It's
but you gotta listen to the song, Mike, because he's no. You gotta listen to 1985. The way that he does it, it's so Big Brother. It's the most hugging.
It's like the greatest diss track ever, in the sense of it was like, just like Brett says, it's like your brother. Like, you showed out, you came out the house wearing your brother's clothes and was sitting there talking shit about him in front of your homeboys, and then all of a sudden he just came from behind you and just put that shoulder over you, and just like the way that he goes about saying, like, man, I know everybody thinks that your music's trash and all this other stuff, but I don't, I just want you to reference and understand, the importance you have. And, I've been there, I took Frankie's clothes.
And, that headlock is getting harder and harder as he's talking to you. So, it's squeezing tighter and tighter. Like, you need to understand who you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying?
But again, the album itself is a great, is very relevant. It's still, I respect J. Cole because he stays so true to himself and his growth, that he has allowed his growth to be seen in everything that he does. He doesn't look to, this is his probably third or fourth album in a row with 0 features. The feature that he has on there, I don't know who that dude is. I mean, I'm sure he's
I thought I saw some feature too, but it's probably somebody in the background.
It's like a production or like a singer or something like that, who is not by any means a popular or known. It isn't like Beyonce is the feature on the album. And so that in itself, the fact that you're putting out these albums with only you as the main person, and 9 times out of 10 there's really 0 features at all, it is poignant, and it shows the strength of his artistry to be able to do that, because not many artists can put out an album without anybody else featured on there to kind of be able to grab some additional likes and follows. That it makes a huge difference. And I mean, his authenticity, his awareness, but more importantly, his, like I said, that transformation of being able to understand and grab, like, hey, I can't feed them if I make it too far this way. I have to figure out that way to put it in that.
That's what I disagree with. So, so what you just said about the no features and the content, so that's why I liken him so much to Nas, because Nas did that his first album and does that regularly. I don't feel like he put the pill in Kool-Aid.
Who did Nas feature on his first album?
I said
he didn't.
Did not.
Oh, he did? Oh, because I'm pretty sure AZ was on a track in the first album.
The first?
On Illmatic. AZ was on there. Go ahead, sir.
Anyway,
I was almost an adult. Go ahead.
The pill and Kool-Aid. He got a song called Kool-Aid.
No, man. Listen, man.
It's a metaphor, man. Come on, man.
Where are we?
I don't know. You talking about Lil Pump?
Mike, go back on mute.
Hey, Beyonce got a song called Lemonade.
I'm with you though, Mike. Like who are his marketing people? Like Lil Pump, like that.
Oh man, it's a bunch of them, man. Lil Pump, Lil Xan, little whatever, man. It's kind of ridiculous. But the message that he put out there, man, I feel like it was so in your face. I don't necessarily know that he put it in Kool-Aid. And then some of the critiques of the album, I saw somebody say that it was like nursing home music or something like that, because it was just so sad and down. I got another person that says, and this is the question that I wanted to ask you guys who have listened to the album, but said that all he did was preach. There were no solutions offered in anything in this album. And then there's another critique about the packaging of it and how it's just a collection of loose thoughts and things of that nature. But what I want to get you guys' opinion on it, who have listened to it, is do you think all it was somebody on their soapbox preaching about things and not offering any solutions?
Absolutely not. I mean, he definitely offered. I think one of the most powerful songs was the weed song, right? Where he talks about
meditation,
the fact that weed is you're addicted to it, and that there's definitely, you can blame a lot of your downfalls on society and other stuff, but at the end of the day, you need to look more internally and then not only in saying that, this is what's affecting you, but at the end of the song, he offers the ultimate, like, this is the solution. You need to meditate. I know it sounds weird and it sounds different, but meditation can be extremely more powerful than any of the different narcotics that you're getting involved in, and can have a way more powerful impact on your life if you look to step into those pieces of doing. And so I think that it's in a sense small-minded that you would make the perception of trying to say that, oh, all he's doing is, preaching and telling. I applaud him for being able to put those messages in song form in order to, and even if you do feel it comes across in a sense as preachy, I more so applaud him for putting those messages in music form that can be digested, as opposed to feeling like, oh, well, I just need to make another album about money, females, and drugs.
Hey, look, I'm just happy that I know I said what I said about Beychella earlier, and we talking about J. Cole right now, and is he offering solutions? The fact that we can talk about artists are doing things outside of the norm, that's movement in the right direction.
I have a question. Y'all said that J. Cole is like Nas. So who's the current KRS-One?
Sorry, we know you waiting for that person, Mike, but I don't think that person exists yet.
Current KRS-One.
I'm sure there's
dropping knowledge like KRS. Yeah, it would be an underground guy. I had to go
an underground. I of course can't reference him currently. I mean, but I wouldn't necessarily say Kendrick, but also I kind of would say Kendrick. He's very.
I don't think so.
He's definitely not as a KRS-One, but I'm putting in the sense of KRS-One. In that time, he was a popular rapper with those messages. And so if you want to reference somebody who is, in that popular category, I would push towards a Kendrick.
And I'm gonna say that the KRS-One of today is what most people would consider a old school hip hop artist, which is Common. And he's still somewhat relevant today.
Common.
Yeah.
Sorry, Common. No mean to this, but
hey, that's probably
as close as it gets, right?
Social person right now, and that's dropping stuff anywhere near that level. I mean, I'm not saying that he has the talent of a Common, but would you say Kendrick Lamar has the talent of a KRS-One?
Talent, yeah. I don't know that the message is the same.
I don't say that's revolutionary. Like, I think talent wise, 1,000%, but it's the mentality in the KRS from jump in initiation was, a revolutionary, and still continues to be that type of mentality and mindset. And I think also the time and setting of when their music was created and brought to the forefront are, different things structured their path. But again, trying to figure out a drop of reference.
And real quick, congratulations to Kendrick Lamar on his Pulitzer Prize.
Oh, great drop, Kay. Great drop. Did you guys know that? Yeah, Kendrick Lamar won a Pulitzer Prize for Damn. There are white people going crazy saying that he doesn't deserve it and all of these other things. But again,
so you get a Pulitzer for music now? I thought that was for literary works.
But that's what is amazing. Is exactly the artistry of what he did. It is written. I don't know if he dropped the book or how it correlated to be allowed, but yeah, pretty much he just broke records as the first hip hop artist to
shout out to Kendrick.
Prize winner.
So I guess thinking through it, is there a reason why there's a transition from like Jay-Z to somebody new, Nas to somebody new, but you're more conscious, get lost? So if you think about like Rakim, Public Enemy, KRS-One, even Tribe Called Quest to a point, De La Soul. Like,
you just got to know what you're listening to. So if you listen to somebody like the Flatbush Zombies, who I was just put on to, amazing group that give you some of that same message in your group, in the music, like a Q-Tip. The more underground artists, but even with J. Cole and Kendrick, they have messages in their music. You got a Nick Grant who doesn't who talks a lot about positivity. You got Lupe, who's
Yeah.
typically over most people's heads. So you have those individuals out there, and they fall into the same category where they're less known or less prevalent because of their content.
The issue is saturation, man, and ease of access, right? It's that back in our time, back in the 80s and 90s, it was about getting that one CD, mixtape, this, that, and the other, where it was hard, and whatever you got, you rock that thing out for at least a month, if not that whole year, because it was that moment dropped, and that is all you were going to get, and so you were able to digest. Whereas now, man, I literally yesterday was getting new music for DJ, and I put 300 songs into my library of music yesterday. 300, and I already have a library of over 35,000 songs. And so all of this music, the ability to absorb it is so much harder, and you have so much more stuff that comes from different angles. And then with the strength of popularity, at the end of the day, the popular stuff is what's put in your face. And so it's harder to source and find, those KRS ones and those, people who are not on the popular wave, to be able to dig and find out where they're at. And then once you find them, you can get a ton of information on them and new music. But it's about, there's so much, man. It's so much to digest. And if you find the first one that you find is not that song that resonates with you, then it's like, yo, I don't have enough time to sit here and even entertain this one. I'm on to the next one. I'm trying to figure out, and then you'll find out 2 years later, who was that? Oh, wait a minute. I listened to this stuff like 2 years. It wasn't bumping like this. Oh, you listened to the wrong song. Or that was the song he put out just before, he went crazy and it really went to this new level.
So you think it's systemic, like by the record company trying to get
100%. 100%. Look, the record companies have the power of popularity dollars in order to continue to put these messages that continue putting us in this spiral downward, out there. There is a lot of ability for them to, push away some of these, continued dope up, drink up, sell drugs, slap bitches, all of these messages. Like, there is a lot of opportunity to kind of push some of those out of there. But when they continue to allow that to be what I'm going to push on the radio, and I'll just, Percocet, Molly Percocet, I got my 3-year-old singing that when that's what's on the radio and that's what's, continuously pushed, it's, it's subliminal. People don't even realize, and especially younger, you talking about 15 below, that they don't realize how subliminally they are getting placed into and pushed into that space of, oh, well, yeah, I want to be, why is it so, why do so many younger people enjoy portraying in the ideal that they are some drug kingpin? Like, that's the goal in basis of what they want to be. And even if not, I still want to show the image that makes people feel that I must be, slanging. It's horrible, but if that's all you hear and that's what you hear is popular, and that's what, oh man, but the drug dealer got a nice car, a whole bunch of chicks. He's walking around with a stack of money like this that he talks to like it's a cell phone. I want to do that, as opposed to, I just want to live a good life. I want to find a job that is something that I don't feel is a job, and that allows me to have the freedom and ability to enjoy and enrich my life on a continued basis and be able to take in new experiences. It's always going to be like that. There has to be, and it's slowly starting to come, but there has to be that change and that push of the popularity being able to take us to those other, hey, bring a real message, take it beyond just, drug dealing and hanging out with females, and do exactly what J. Cole is doing, where it's creating and putting out messages of improvement in that, hey, we've been doing things wrong, and there are things that you're not even consciously noticing that are going on that you can impact and help improve and enrich your life.
You feel sorry for the shorties.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't feel sorry for him. I think that's why this album is so important, man. It's therapeutic on his part because I'm sure in his head, he feels a lot of pressures and things. I mean, he talks about it all over the album. But it's also therapeutic for us to listen because we've talked about it before, and I think you mentioned it. All of that stuff that's going into your subconscious. So when you're thrown stuff like the Migos or this Triple X guy or Lil Xan, Lil Pump, or whoever all the time, and that's all you consume, it anchors itself to your mind. It anchors itself to that pineal gland. You know what I'm saying? So now we got to start training our minds to think a lot differently. And with this album coming on the heels of 444 last year, one of them speaks to one generation. The other one speaks to the generation just below that, but also the younger generation, but it's for a reason. And it's because the younger generation has to acknowledge what's going on as far as these addictions to the Mollies, the Percocets, the lean, and how that's destroying their minds and their longevity in life. But we, as the generation that's at the point where we can make a difference, need to understand what's going on that end and how we can impact that. So I think that's one of the biggest things I got from this album, man. And it's really important. I wish him nothing but success as it goes forward. And we're gonna get you a little clip, Mike, so you can have a little taste before you go ahead and get Dez and Lil Michael to put you on.
Yeah, it's just the volume. I mean, if you think about like you mentioned like two artists as compared to like when we grew up, it was almost reversed. Like it was the majority that spoke on conscious, the majority that spoke on trying to get, to a different mindset to where it wasn't you got to go find them. It was more you had to go find those that were outside, which is why when NWA came out, they were so far on the opposite end of the extreme because mostly everything else was positive. And then the era before that, you got R&B, you got soul. So it's like the amount of things that were about doing different things and thinking through with your mind has gone in a decline, and you have an increase of social media where it's so much stuff that's being put in front of them that exhibits negative behaviors that you can see so quick. You have to be intentional about truly, like Fresh said, digging through the crate to find like, all right, I'm going through 35,000 albums and okay, here go one. And then I'm going to keep searching. Okay. And then you search and okay, here go another one.
But here's the thing though, Mike. And see, I can't let you fall into the trap of our older generation because the day and time is different and the priority is different and the way that they look at what is the most important thing right now is totally different. Now, on the flip side, because of social media, you do have access to go find the things that you want if you're so motivated. So it's out there. And I guarantee you, like, once you get into the rabbit hole of trying to find the conscious stuff and the stuff that's going to help you evolve, it just keeps going because you just keep getting linked to something else and to something more. And the way that the algorithms are written now, it helps you it directs you towards more things based on what you search for. So if you're just searching for junk, all you're going to get is junk. But if you're searching for stuff that's going to enrich you, you're going to continue to get more things that are going to enrich you. So, I think the movement, again, it's happening. And I think it's these little things like Beyonce, like J. Cole, like Jay-Z that are starting the conversation and starting the movement. Girl.
No,
Alicia Keys.
No,
Swiss Beats.
Not this. Not this time. Hey, Fresh.
But no, that's absolutely a thing. If you search Alicia Keys and her decision not to wear makeup, it will lead you down a particular hole, and you will start to find more things about natural beauty and all that good stuff and hair. So yeah, man, it's all there, man. It's all little seeds, man, and they get the attention, they will grow.
Just saying.
Easy. Fresh, let us get that clip from Mike and the rest of our listeners before we get up out of here.
No worries. I'm going to go ahead and throw it to 1985. I think that, just like we said, he did a great job of, kind of letting the younger generation know how he feels about their attempted diss of him in the culture and really a better perspective on how they need to go about life.
Man, we need to cut that off at 8 seconds. It's fresh, so they gonna shut us down quick.
1985, I arrived. 33 years, damn, I'm grateful I survived. We wasn't supposed to get past 25. Jokes on you, mother, we alive. All these niggas popping now is young. Everybody say the music that they make is dumb. I remember I was 18. Money parties, I was on the same thing. You gotta give a boy a chance to grow some. Everybody talking like they know something these days. Looking Jack and woke, but they broke.
There it is. You see the little head nod coming.
All right, that's enough, man.
That's that boom bap that Mike used to.
They're already gonna shut us.
Why everybody sound like Drake? You sound like Drake.
Drake sound like everybody, man.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah. Remember, I referenced it last time. Drake is a vampire, just like Kanye West, who enjoys, sucking the attributes out of, artists. They
not a vampire. He's a shapeshifter.
That's fair.
Just like Harry Potter.
Shout out Harry Potter. Anyway, Coach K, did you have anything you wanted to add to that closer you just provided us with?
Oh, man, yeah, come on, man, absolutely. So I would say the biggest thing out of what we spoke about today is driving the conversation. And if we don't have the conversation, nobody will give it attention. So be intentional with your day, be intentional with what you bring out. And what social media has enabled us to do, it has enabled us to realize that we're not the only ones going through what we're going through. And through social media, the world becomes a lot smaller. They can't put us in isolation. We can't be in these little pockets. There's much more light being brought out. So while the revolution will not be televised, the evolution is happening on social media. Use it to your advantage and keep driving.
Keep driving. Make sure you follow us on social media at 13th Floor, please. You can get this podcast on Google Play, iTunes, SoundCloud. Catch the videos on YouTube and stay connected with us.
Vimeo too. You always forget Vimeo. Y'all go check us out on Vimeo.
I always forget Vimeo, man. Yeah.
Go check us out on Vimeo, man. That's the nucleus. That's where it all starts from, and then it gets
Spotify.
Spotify up there too as well. Where else we at?
We everywhere. If there's a place that a podcast exists, we there. So y'all just check. Y'all search 13th Floor Fledgeology and we gonna be right there, all in your face.
Subscribe.
Yes. Check notifications, all of that good stuff. You never know when we sipping and dripping, bringing all this flavor all up on you. Wow.
And we out of here. Thank you all for listening with us on the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing.
Boynton Beach next Wednesday. Holla at me. Come on.
The 13th floor.
Appreciate you.
The 13th floor.